Gold and silver prices might be going down for you in the US, but for us in the UK, they're going up. And that, I think, could be interpreted as a cautionary tale of how the devaluation of your currency might affect the gold and silver prices one day. We're certainly seeing a huge shift right now, and it's certainly making gold and silver seem an attractive option to preserve your wealth, but also an expensive one. Hello everybody, Backyard Bullion here, and a warm welcome to you all joining me for another precious metal ramble. Silver prices have come down, so have gold. Have you not seen some of the big red arrows on a lot of these YouTube videos floating around out there, talking about how silver is in the doldrums? Well, another thing that's in the doldrums is the pound versus the dollar, which is causing, for us here in the United Kingdom, gold to go up. And I think this can be interpreted as a cautionary tale for a lot of perhaps what might happen for the US dollar going forwards. Currency valuations, the world around us, inflation, interest rates, all of these factors are going to combine in to really change the way the world is in terms of finances, I think anyway, over the next few years. Now, this isn't a financial advice video. I'm just talking at the camera about precious metals and money and how that all interacts with my own strategies going forwards. So please bear that in mind. And also a quick note to our sponsor of today's video, and a big thank you to them. BYB Bullion have sent me through, and yes, you are reading that correctly, a 1 kilo 49 fine silver bull and bear coin, and it is a coin. It is stunning. So a huge thank you to them for sending me this. Really is special, thank you, and go and check out their website. There's a link down in the description below, one of the premier European bullion dealers, and they ship worldwide as well. And it might well be worth considering for you US customers to look abroad now, because the dollar versus the pound, the dollar being where it is and the pound being where it is, means that you guys will be able to get great deals on your purchases from the UK and Europe. So, a European dealer might end up actually being better bang for your buck somehow than elsewhere because of that exchange rate. Definitely worth thinking about. And that exchange rate is the thing that drives the gold and silver price for us here in the United Kingdom and the European Union. And it has forever. Gold, of course, sort of primarily indexed against the US dollar, priced in the US dollar, and then it's, of course, about the foreign exchange rates that drive it. And I think it's just a sheer demonstration of how things have progressed over this last year. When you look at what I paid for this 2022 Britannia in October last year, you can see I paid £1,354.58. And if you could buy a 1 ounce gold Britannia right now for that price, you would be laughing, because at the moment we're closing in on those all-time highs, and I personally think that we've still got room to go on that over the next week or two. I don't really like being too political on this channel, but of course with the little mini budget that was announced here in the United Kingdom last week, we have seen this run on the pound, and that's the big factor here. So whilst gold and silver have been going down in the greater world economies of the United States, which sometimes can feel like the world economy, but let's not forget that it is just the United States dollar that is strengthening here. The pound, of course, weakening as well relative to that. But nevertheless, we are beholden to that world. And when the US dollar is strong, the pound is weak, and then you see compounded the devaluation of your currency through inflation, it really makes you think about why precious metals are good. And for those of you who were ever in doubt about it, to put it in perspective, this last week we've seen, last 3 months, we've seen huge devaluations of the pound, but gold and silver keeping up somewhat with that. And it's all about that hedge, all about keeping your cash safe. And there's no doubt that just in a year to have that kind of return on this coin, I think demonstrates where we are with the pound right now. It's really making stark reading. Now, of course, where will it go into the next year is anybody's guess. It's, I think, a cautionary tale perhaps of what might come down the line. And whilst I don't really like saying I told you so, I think I would be well within my rights to kind of say that I did tell you so, that interest rates would go up and the gold price would come down. If you go and look at some of my videos from about a year ago, maybe 18 months ago, when we were in the sort of beginnings of the fallout from the pandemic and moving through into the kind of cost of living crises. I think from sort of early this year, January, February this year, I've been saying that interest rates are going to go up and they're going to continue to go up for a while. And a lot of people saying that that's just not possible because of the debt that is out there at the moment from various different countries, including the US dollar and the debt ceiling and all of this. And, I don't mean to be kind of lording it over people, but look where we are now. Interest rates have gone up. Gold and silver have come down. I called it. I did. And it's exactly what I thought would happen. And it's, I think, what's going to continue to happen. But where I think that we should be focusing is, even though there is perhaps going to be a movement in gold further down, I still think at some point it's going to turn. It's going to flip on the head, and we're going to see this flocking back to gold and silver as this hedge protection mechanism for these big organizations. And we're going to see starting the rise of the gold price again. Where it will bottom out, I don't know. Of course, all these things are cyclical, and this is, again, not meant to be a financial advice style video. It's just my ramblings about gold and silver. But, at some point, I do think gold is going to start to go up in terms of that US dollar price. Now, the difference it's going to make for us in the United Kingdom, because, of course, if the dollar does start weakening because of these interest rate rises, which I think is natural, it will happen. Whilst I'm going to say I was completely right about the interest rates rising and how they will continue to go above 0.5 percentage point, and they're at pretty good, numbers right now, and I think they're still going to rise quite a lot in the future. At some point, that is then going to instill a lot of people to be worried about the US dollar. There is no doubting that the inflation rates and the debt rates are going to have a factor to play. So the dollar could theoretically weaken over time. And then you see the price of gold go up. So for us in the United Kingdom, that ratio is going to be very important. Again, whether or not the pound will actually strengthen is anybody's guess right now. Personally, I don't think so. Again, I don't want to get too political into this channel, but ultimately we're in this real rut right now, I think, as a financial kind of institution in terms of the pound. It's really difficult to see how and where that's going to go into the future. But the US dollar traditionally has been this go-to fallback currency for the world. It's the world's reserve currency for a reason, and I don't think that that's going to end anytime soon. I think, if anything, it's more likely to be propped up even further and further into the future. And that, of course, is going to potentially have some big issues going forwards. Where it'll be, who knows? But definitely interesting times ahead. And I would say for those of you who are in the US that are able to get hold of cheap silver without massive premiums, then it's certainly worth thinking about getting some now. For us in the UK, silver is looking more and more attractive as an item to have right now. Certainly when you look at the ratio of it to gold, but also the fact that gold is at these near all-time highs, silver is not. And if the pound to dollar ratio continues to go down, of course, we're going to start to see some of these prices go into the all-time highs for gold, but of course nowhere near it for silver. So even with the VAT, it could be a good bet to have. But of course the liquidity thing comes into it as well. So this last point I want to sort of emphasize, which was about places like Europa Bullion, European dealers, UK dealers, and even places like myself or Silver Angel Pouring that you saw maybe last video or 2 videos ago. If you're in the US looking to buy stuff from us, then now is a great time. I've seen the currency fluctuate many times before in my tenure here on YouTube, and each time that it's got stronger for the dollar against the pound, I often get people, new from America starting to join in and buy because it's so much cheaper for you guys. For for us into the US, it's really quite expensive now to buy things, priced in dollars at least. If you were paying for things in pounds, it's a right old nightmare. So difficult times, but if you wanted to pick up some poured silver, or if you want to pick up something like this kilo bull and bear from Europa Bullion, then it's definitely worth looking at. Even with sort of international shipping, there's definitely potential for great savings relative to home. So go and check out Europa Bullion, and a big thank you again to them for sponsoring today's video. Now, you notice that I've got out here a platinum coin. I hope to be able to do a little bit of a platinum overview in a future video, probably coming next week. But platinum is one of these interesting metals that continues to, I think, well, disappoint is one word. You look at where gold is and you look at where platinum is and you kind of think to yourself, surely platinum should be more expensive, but it's not. So we're going to do what I am kind of calling now my annual check-in with platinum. I have added an extra platinum ounce to the stack in the form of this completer. The reasons for buying it is not necessarily about investing in platinum, so to speak, but more investing in Her Majesty the Queen and it being the platinum year for the Platinum Jubilee. Whether or not that's going to happen or not, but I still firmly believe that one day we're going to see a correction in the platinum prices. Find out more about that in a future video. That'll hopefully be out on Wednesday. Otherwise, thank you one and all for watching, and I hope you have enjoyed today's little ramble. If you're in the Cool Kids Club and you're a BYB Rambling Society member, give us a shout out down in the comment section. It's always fun to hear from you. Otherwise, let me know your thoughts and opinions on this subject. Otherwise, that is it from me. We'll see you on the next one. As always, please make sure that you like, share, comment, and subscribe for more.